Hey everybody, Brett Miller here, Metal Guitar Academy. So look, I'm just doing an impromptu little office hour here because I have a last minute cancellation, unfortunately, with somebody. So I haven't made a video for a while. Do have a lot of kind of cool changes coming up with Metal Guitar Academy. I'm rearranging some things. And the beginning, heavy metal for beginners, it's still in production. Okay, it's a little bit delayed, but whatever. It's going to be excellent, very detailed, have the outline all finished right now, going out soon. But anyway, pardon me. So what I want to talk about a little bit today is this idea about how oftentimes things are made too complicated when it comes to scale fingering, scale patterns, in that instead of taking something you already know, major scale, minor pentatonic scale, two of the big pillars out of the three big pillars, which doesn't include the triads. That's kind of the three big pillars to memorize, right? If you take a major scale, for example, which is what we're going to work with today a little bit, we're going to talk about how we can make some really cool kind of modal sounding pentatonic scales, but not approach them like, oh my gosh, I have to learn a whole different set of scale fingerings because I want to learn such and such exotic scale. I think that's a really poor way to go about it, and it's exacerbated by a lot of books out there, including kind of an interesting reference book called Guitar Grimoire. I don't know if you guys have seen that. That's been around forever. I have a copy of that. I got that when I was a teenager, and it's just this book like this. It just has tons of scales in it, scale fingerings. It could actually be about this thin, 1/12 the size, which maybe I'll get into in a little bit. But anyway, it's sets up this mindset where, oh my gosh, there's 10 trillion scales I have to learn, and how am I ever going to do that because I don't even really know my major scale or my pentatonic scale really well, so I'm just going to give up. And that's the trouble here. It's intimidating, and it doesn't have to be. So here's what I'm talking about. Here's what I'm thinking. We're going to use C major scale. Now, the major scale fingerings, the way I present them, there's 6 of them. Very good way to present them because it's very conducive for actually using it, improvising, and things like that. So they're very practical, but we're just going to be looking at maybe 1 or 2 fingerings today just as a demonstration. So, first of all, pentatonic scale technically just means a 5-note scale, right? So the one that we're all familiar with, of course, is kind of like that, just that big bluesy sound, right? But pentatonic really is 5 tones. So there's any scale that would have 5 notes, technically is going to be a pentatonic. And how do we get that? A good way to think about it is just taking a 7-note scale, like a major scale, and just getting rid of 2 notes. That's actually what happens with minor pentatonic, right? We have a minor scale, we get rid of 2 notes. But if I'm playing this C major scale, I'm here on my 8th fret, low E string, and I'm just going to play this finger pattern. So again, if you're not familiar with all these, major scale momentum on the Metal Guitar Academy site is going to lay that out for you, and they're laid out for you in the Beginner Guitar No Wimps book. I mean, they're very important. So that's one of the things here at Metal Guitar Academy, right? It's a lot about foundations. So you want to hit these from different angles over and over again. Okay, so you're going to find these finger patterns in some of the other material. But that's just one of them out of 6. Now, what if I simply decided, okay, you know what? I want to make an interesting pentatonic scale, but I want to base it off of a mode. Now, I'm not going to get too much into the theory here again. A lot of plugs here today. There's a lot of good modal material at Metal Guitar Academy as well. But basically, if I do this, and I'm not going to deviate from the finger pattern, okay? But I'm going to start on the note E. So it's the 3rd note of my scale pattern. If I just play E to E, but I keep the same pattern, we call that a Phrygian scale. that's what I'm going to be working with here today, just off the cuff. Let's say I wanted to make that sound even a little kind of cooler, a little more exotic, right? I'm going to keep, of course, those two notes because that really is very characteristic, the half step there, E to F, for a Phrygian sound, okay? So I'm going to keep those notes in there definitely, but let's see, I'm going to remove two notes here. I'm going to remove the C, and I'm going to remove the G. Why am I doing that? I don't know, because you can pick two notes and you'll get just a cool different sound if you remove different notes. So of course we're left at that point with 5 notes, right? Because the original scale, E, F, G, A, B, C, D, 7 notes, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then it would go back there. Remember, we're really just thinking about the C major fingering, okay? So this is not a new fingering, which is kind of my whole point here. Okay, if I presented this to you as, this is the Phrygian Mixoblablabian scale, and it's here's the finger pattern. If it wasn't put in the context for the student as, hey, we're just taking this scale pattern you already know, but we're just starting here, I guarantee you, a lot of players would think this is some whole new fingering set that they got to do, and this is the issue. It's really just about focusing the lens in a different way. Okay, so I'm going to remove the C and the G. So we have E, F, I'm going to skip the G, I'm going to go right to the A, B, I'm going to skip the C, I'm going to go right to the D, and then E. Go back down. E, D, skipping the C, there's my B, skipping the G. I'm just doing that for fun. Okay, because sounds like a Manowar song. Okay, so if I play that a little bit quicker, a little bit more in context here, okay, just so you hear it as a scale. Make sure I do this properly. Sorry, I hit the wrong note there. Kind of a neat sound, right? It retains that Phrygian flavor. Because that half step, but that pentatonic, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 notes before we hit. Kind of want to. Just you can do it. You can imagine a lot of cool. Kind of neat sounds there. So that's going to work over any time or any situation that you'd want to use a normal Phrygian scale. Okay, because remember, it's just the same as the Phrygian scale, but we're taking a couple notes away. Now again, don't worry if you're not so hot on the modes or up on the modes right now. This is just conceptually, this is going to work for pretty much any scale that you would know. We could do the same thing if you were thinking of this just as a plain old C major scale. We could remove a couple of notes and it would sound pretty cool. Now, here's my point. Instead of being like, oh, okay, I have to learn this whole new thing where I'm going to name that scale some weird name or whatever. No, if you just think about the two notes that you're removing, remember we're removing C and G. What that means is you could take any of your C major finger patterns of the 6, okay, and almost immediately you're going to be able to play that new pentatonic scale that you just came up with all across the neck, because same idea. Let me go to here. Here's a C on the A string. So if I play a C major scale from here, this is one of the 6 finger patterns. I don't know, I gotta play a little bit. Get it out of my system. Okay. So I don't like last minute cancellations. Now, here's that pattern. C major. Okay, but remember, what we're going to do is we're simply going to kind of start on the E, the 3rd note of that scale, the C major scale, so that it gives us a Phrygian kind of a sound. Okay, so here it is. I could do the, remember, this is the same finger pattern I just did. There's no deviation. I'm simply not going to play the C and the G. So I'm just looking to see where those are, and I'm not going to play them. So this is the same scale, but it would sound like this. E, F, skipping the G, right to the A, B, no C, D, and E. Okay? If we kept going, E, F, no G, A, B, D, E. Now again, how many cool phrases could you get? It's just whenever you finger something, even a familiar scale, a little differently. Oh, I hit the G. I'm sorry, that was my mistake. Okay. So, just wanted to tell you about that. That's about it. Okay. So I'll see you guys later.